Of all the things in the world a physio could do is pull their own calf muscle, but literally this is what I've done. So this video is all about documenting really how and what I'm doing to get myself back to normal. So it's very interesting really, some of the things I'm trying, and the effect has been very good up to now. It was 2.5 weeks ago when I did it. Effectively the reasons I did it I now know. Hindsight is a good thing, as they say. So yeah, there was a couple of things. One, I was on a calorie deficit, quite a large one, so recovery is impeded by that a little bit. So I think that was one minor factor. The other factor that caused the tear was the fact that I was due for a deload about 2 weeks before Christmas, and I thought, well, I might as well keep on going and stretch it out an extra 2 weeks to do my deload at Christmas. So this meant that I would have been doing the longest mesocycle training block that I've kind of done, and of course that created more cumulative overload in obviously my calf muscle, hence why it happened. The straw that broke the camel's back though, I think, was the fact that I added more weight to the bar than I'm familiar with in recent times. It's certainly a weight that I've lifted many times before, but probably not in the last year. Not so heavy that it was crazy. I mean, I could like set 1 and set 2, I could do 12 reps, but it was set 3 that got me. I was on the descend, I was doing a Smith machine calf raise on a step with straight knees, took it down on the 3rd rep, and I just felt this absolute tear. And then obviously because of inhibition in the muscle just conked out completely, so much so that I thought I might have snapped something clean in half. So when I got out of the Smith machine, I checked my Achilles tendon first. Achilles tendon seemed fine, which would have been a surprise to me, but everything's possible. And yeah, the muscle was the medial head of the gastrocnemius, so the inside big calf muscle is where I'd torn. So yeah, I came back in. Obviously the swelling started quite quickly. Even though even though guidelines sort of show icing, compressing and all that's really good, I basically put a bit of compression on through compression supports. I didn't ice it really. I don't necessarily think ice is actually that beneficial in just making sense of what ice actually does to you. And then I just, kept it steady. I didn't do too much on it. I tried to listen to my body. So obviously I didn't really walk on it much, and I was heavily limping. I could not step past my other foot. I was elevating it where I could, but I was also trying to move it. Now the only dilemma is I had supreme levels of inhibition. Literally the muscle was just a floppy nothing. It just would not contract. I couldn't tense it. Zero contraction. Even if I wanted to, it wasn't pain related, it just would not contract. So I thought sort of day 2, day 3 might have been the day I could start doing stuff to it. So I thought I could do some massage maybe day 3, day 4. However, it was still super tender by then. I mean, I barely could touch it without like real severe tenderness and pain, and I thought it might stir it up more than anything else. So I started to use my Compex, the neuromuscular electrical stimulator, the muscle stimulation unit, and this has been a godsend. Day 2 is when I decided to try and use it a little bit. So I knew it was a tad early, but I thought, well, muscle not contracting at all. The muscle's going to waste like crazy if I don't do something about it. So I basically stuck on the muscle stim, and I put it on, I think I put it on like a recovery setting, I think is what I did initially. So you get a little bit of light contraction, it's slow twitch fibers, and I really took it very steady. So I could see some visible little contractions, but nothing that was tender and nothing that hurt. I monitored afterwards, it didn't hurt after. So I was like, well, at least next time I can do the same again. So basically several times a day I was doing that. Then as the days passed, I was doing it, I was upping the ante, getting a greater contraction. I was using different programs, so I used like the relaxing massage setting, I used the capillarization setting to increase blood flow, because at the end of the day I've got all this bleeding, all this bruising, all this swelling, and I've got to try and clear that out, because of course that's going to impede things. I then started to use probably day 4, day 5, using the atrophy setting, which is designed to get certain levels of contraction that ramp up slow, more slow twitch orientated, and the aim there is principally to minimize the loss of muscle through atrophy through disuse. And in truth, I think this has worked exceptionally well. I've upped the ante on that slowly but surely, and yeah, the muscle obviously was getting a contraction. It actually took about 5 days before I could even voluntarily contract the muscle, even to tense it. So obviously in the first 5 days, if I hadn't been using the muscle stim, I would have lost a lot of muscle, because obviously not using it at all, it will waste away quickly. And the other thing is that I had no ability, therefore, without contracting the muscle, to move the fluid out of the calf through the lymphatic system. So getting that intermittent contraction done multiple times a day really helped to shift quite a lot of swelling, and it went down day on, day out, improved all the time. Initially the swelling was quite bad. I mean, I had a lot of bruising coming through, obviously, as the bruising started to develop. I had a lot of bruising in the calf, bruising in the shin, bruising in the foot, bruising in my toes, even under my toenails. And the swelling, yeah, on Christmas Day I was sat down for the 3-course meal, and when I got up, I literally had this solid mass of swelling above my sock. I could actually leave a massive indent into my shin and calf with my thumb, about a centimetre deep. So at that point I was able to do some massage and shift that out a little bit, obviously gravitational related, and that's helped as well. So I've been massaging it a bit more as I've been able to, been upping the ante on the stim, been stretching very lightly at the beginning and gradually more and more and more, obviously taking the gastroc off stretch by bending the knee, allowing movement of the ankle, because obviously swelling in the ankle needed to be shifted as well, and the ankle itself was going to seize up too, so it was getting the ankle moving. And then as the first week sort of went on, I've started to try to load it. Now obviously I couldn't really contract the muscle very strongly even then, so what I was simply doing was I was trying to do some isometrics, so just pushing into something with my toes and just trying to press and hold and just get the muscle working as much as I could. Again, listening to the pain during it and after it, and again it was fine. And then as it able to contract a bit better, I was doing harder and harder pressure. The next step for me, I was then weight bearing. So I was trying to do some weight bearing, taking some weight. So I was trying to push through the floor, but initially I could not gain any lift, even off 2 legs. And then gradually from there, I've been able to go onto my toes with both legs, up and down, and then isometrically shift my weight on my toes across. So I'm doing an isometric gastroc contraction. Initially I couldn't really take all my weight across, and then gradually as the days passed I've been able to take more and more weight, until a couple of days ago I could take all my weight isometrically, but I couldn't raise up on one leg. And then today is the first day where I've actually been able to actually physically, off one leg, raise physically up off the floor. I've started to do some more soleus based work, so seated calf raises with weight, because again I can take that higher and load that up more. And yeah, the plan is to continue to keep on adding more and more load. So I'm hoping in the next couple of days that I'll be able to do some weighted calf raises. I'll start to then introduce a step, so probably a minor one at first where I can drop down a tad to get a bit of stretch under contraction, and then gradually further and further down until I can get full range calf raises, and then I'll just keep increasing the weight more and more and more and more. Same with the stim. I mean, I've been using atrophy setting. I'm going to gradually move it into endurance settings, then into resistance settings, strength settings, hypertrophy settings, and so on. So basically getting more and more fast twitch fiber involvement in the calf. And yeah, so at the moment swelling's going down. Atrophy wise looks to be minimal, if none, which is really impressive, and I really put that down to the muscle stim. And like I say, I'm just going to keep upping the ante on the muscle stim, keep building it up, and yeah, I'm realistically expecting a faster than average recovery. Considering at the beginning I thought this is a really bad tear, and really bad tears in the calf can take a good 6 weeks on average. I'm 2.5 weeks now, I can put some load through it, my limp has gone, so I think it's going to be, you know, under 6 weeks and back to lifting the normal level of weight that I would usually. Obviously, you know, it may not be the case, but, you know, certainly considering how bad it was, I think it's doing exceptionally well. So again, it shows you that doing the right things at the right times, progressing with it, is definitely the key. So yeah, so that's pretty much what I'm doing. I'll probably do another video on the later stages, because obviously this is pretty much up to 2.5 weeks. I've got my plan, obviously, as I've mentioned, for the next few weeks, and I'll do another video to update on obviously how I've got on. So I'll see you then. We want to keep making great content for our subscribers, so if anyone would like to support the channel by making a pledge, then we would be extremely grateful, and you can do this on our Patreon page here.